Yeah, he wanted to go to school for, he decided business management because he could be pretty lazy, you know. And his idea was that he was going to go to school for business management so that he could be the boss. Because he wanted to work, but he would rather have been able to tell other people how to and what to do rather than doing the work himself, which I thought was pretty smart, you know. Well, go to school and make sure you get the degree so that you can tell everybody else what to do. So, I mean, now the main thing, like, you know, with people and they look, you know, thinking about my son and the way he died and the things that were said about him, the things people need to know about my son is that, like, he was a great kid. He was very kind and loving and friendly, and it shows in the amount of people that different range in age and sex and you know, ethnicity, or, you know, he's friends with everybody from 0 to 80, you know, white, black, it doesn't matter, you know, boy, girl, none of that mattered to him. And they need to understand that, you know, what happens in one night does not change a lifetime of a person's personality and what makes them who they are. You know, he was a really good kid, and he had dreams and he had desires to be something good and something great, and he, you know, he was a little confused about who he was and where he was at in his life, and, you know, being 19, you expect that. You know, I want people to know, like, that my son was, you know, his presence on this planet was a good presence. Was someone who would give the shirt off of their back to somebody if they needed it. He just, you know, he had an infectious presence. He had a wonderful charisma about himself. Just his energy was a positive and can make you feel better just by being around him. You can see just the type of person he was, and the people that are coming out now saying how much they enjoyed him and saying how much they loved him, and the variety of the people and the things that they say tells you a story about a kid that, you know, had a night of fateful choices. There's 500 different things that if they could have went differently that night, things would have been different. He wouldn't have been here. He wouldn't be here where he's at, lying 6 feet under in his coffin, you know. And we've done that over and over. Me and his friends have gone over and over about, you know, if we would have just did this, if this could just be changed, and one thing at any point in time in that entire day would have been different, he'd be here. And this world was a better place for him being in it. He has impacted so many people's life. He's affected people I never even knew. I didn't even know he knew all these people until after he passed away. And for me, it gives me a sense of joy to know that the one thing he always wanted in his life was to be loved and to be liked. And it does my heart good to see that that's what he got. He had what he always wanted, whether he knows it or not. All of that love and all of that caring and the one thing that made his, you know, he craved the most, he did achieve it. And rightfully so. He was the kid that should have been loved. He was the kid that should have never been gunned down. He's not the kid that you would look at and say, that's what's going to happen with you. You never would have thought that with him. So him being where he is, it's still hard for me to wrap my mind around it because it just wasn't supposed to be his story. His story was not supposed to end here, and it wasn't supposed to end like this.